Hello traders, this is my weekend video and just a basic brief overview of what I'm seeing in the markets here. And we'll start with the SPY, and we are going to look at, this is my daily market webs. Well, and you know it. And with using that, you get our monthly support and resistance zones. And what I did was February, we got 3 resistance zones based out of February 2018. And I just drew lines across, red lines across, based off of those zones. And if you go back in time, go back here and look. Okay, the bottom one down here, we found a little bit of resistance whenever we ran into that zone back in back in October. Okay. And then in January or December, late November, December, you remember that correction we had right there at the end of November? That we ran into the next zone, okay? And what we're doing now, we're running into that next zone here the first of the week on our SPY. So I think there is a very strong possibility of some sort of correction, at the very least, sideways action for the rest of the week here in the markets, here in the SPY. Now, if you go out on our Qs, I drew the same things then, but these are based off of March. The levels line up with March. They don't. We've already blown through the February levels, so now we're dealing with the March levels. We had a blow-off move and expansion in our ranges. Well, we are just about ready to do the same thing on our Qs. And let me move it down. You got just a little bit. The average true range on the Qs is a little bit greater than the SPY, so that's why I had to zoom it a little bit. But yeah, we're really close here to a significant resistance on that too. Well, let me get back here and auto zoom and come out just a little bit further here. And as you can see, this first level, that was our first initial resistance on our Qs, very significant. And we held out here for a long time. Then we come into the second level, and wouldn't you know it, we start chopping around this level for quite a long time, several months. Okay? So what we're doing now, we're coming into the third level. So I'm thinking what we're going to do is potentially something like this that we had way back in April of 2019, setting up here. And we are just like a 1 or 2 day situation away from that level here in the Qs. We could very easily be gapping up near or into that resistance come Tuesday morning. So I just wanted to point that out. I got a couple longs on. I'm going to be watching this closely in the tech. I might be just taking quick profits right out of the gate come Tuesday morning. So I just wanted to point this situation out that we got going on those 2 areas. Now, if you look at your IWM, this is even more telling here. We came right into a untested volume point of control as of Friday, okay? And we immediately found responsive selling against that untested BPOC. Okay, so just keep that one on your watch as well, that we've already hit resistance in our Russell that could find significant selling pressure here. So, and the Russell has been lagging, up till the past few days. And then all of a sudden we decided to reach up into that BPOC at the end of last week. And we had a pretty strong sell-off there Friday, despite the other indices being fairly stable, but that was a pretty significant move on our Russell to the downside. So just keep this one on your watch, that situation happened on the Russell. Now, this is a different view with the SPY. I'm going to do all 3 of the indices here. And I want to show how elongated our MA fans are here, and that we are breaking way above, stretching above all of our MAs on the daily, even the 5. I've got a 5 simple moving average, and we are gapping, reaching up above, away from the SPY. This to me is a potential topping formation whenever we're gapping away from our 5 SMA going into a resistance level. So that confirms what my bias here, that we could very easily be hitting a significant top here in the markets. Okay, and if you go look at your Qs, similar situation. Look at this. We have, we closed right at the top of the day ranges on our Qs going into this week, right next to a resistance area. So that's another one, elongated MAs on our MA fans. So whenever you're gapping away from the 5, and you just something you got to worry about. And then I want to show you here on your MAs on your Russell, or even worse, because we literally we really gapped away from all the MAs on our Russell and right into resistance. So this one here looks like more of a topping formation than the others, actually, in my opinion. So just keep that one on your watch as well. So I don't want to be bearish, but I do think those levels are very, very important this week, and that they are going to act as significant resistance going forward here. And to push longs into this resistance zone is, foolish in my opinion. So I'm not saying that you're not going to be able to work. They're not going to work and work well. I just think putting a lot of money to the long side going into this week is foolish, and you're just throwing your money away. So we'll see what happens. I could be wrong. Like the video if you like it. Please leave comments below, because I've noticed here recently I didn't have the comment area active. But I'll try to have it active this time, and show me what you're seeing, to disprove or validate my claims. But I do think we are at a significant point this week. I know a lot of traders were calling it for last week, but I'm actually calling it for the first of this week. I think the markets are really teetering at a critical area that we may go. We could just build out sideways, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think we're actually we're in a blow off top stage in the markets, and so just keep that in mind. I do think we're going to have a pretty dramatic correction here over the next couple months. I'm really starting to keep a close eye on the railroads here. CSX had came out with some pretty awful numbers there Friday, but yet it rallied along with the rest of the markets, and it gave me a really red flag for the transports. So just keep that in mind. We do have a potential double topping area here that we've been trying to push out above, and they were defending it there Friday. This is a area that I'm really concerned that it's just not going to hold. I know we're up and above, and the markets were trying to reach those levels that I had mentioned in the last 2 videos, and I think that's what's holding our transports up. So this is an area that I would start to look. If the markets start to roll over, it's going to lead to the downside, in my opinion. Then you have your XHB. It's reaching. See here, your prior highs, we're just barely scraping above the prior all-time highs on the XHB. I think this is in parabolic area too for our home builders, setting up for a head and shoulders here. Here's your left shoulder, your head, and we're probably setting up for a head and shoulders top here in our home builders. Okay, 1 second here. Okay, I know this is a little garbage here on our financials, but bear with me for a minute. You see how our MAs or our venom lines have expanded? They were expanded way back over in this time frame. Well, like I showed you before, I like going out in the longer time frames. Like that's April of 2017. We started building out resistance zones. That's July 2016. So we found that we were going to see some resistance at these levels way back then. And that's exactly where we are in our financials, that resistance zone. But what really I want to point out here, you see this correction here? You see how the venom lines, they start expanding ahead of that potential move? Well, you see how these venom, uh, we're up here in the nice tight ranges, thank goodness. But we are getting up here where these venom lines are starting to expand up here tighter to the type to the where the price currently is. So that means there's going to be potential higher volatility as these venom lines are expanding here in the XLF. So I just wanted to keep that on your watch here, that we have the potential of it widening uh, support and resistance zones here on our financials. And I do want to point also out that we're just barely poking above the 2020 open here in the financials. So that's another thing, and we are setting up to cross out of this final up channel in our financials, which we just seem to be building out sideways. So just keep that in mind, that we are, there are some reasons to think the financials are going to show some relative weakness and roll back over here. And this is an untested volume point of control down at the 29.79 area, which is also a trend line. So we haven't even we've already back tested that trend line once, and there's a very good likelihood that we're going to be back testing that thing a second time. So just keep that in mind. If my bearish basis is valid, that the financials are going to be one of the ones leading to the downside. I did take a small Amazon long position today, Friday. There towards the end of the market, we tagged the 21 SMA and immediately found some buying into the Amazon. And like I had pointed out, that the Qs did not seem like that they had actually topped out yet. So I'm really leaning that we're going to have a gap up Tuesday in the markets for that final leg to the upside. That's my theory. But Amazon, it is down here at a support area for a potential move. There's been a lot of upgrades to the 2,200 area for Amazon, and that's just unreal. That's just all-time new highs that they're calling here for Amazon. That's way up here. If we were to get that move, oh my lord! That would be epic. Anybody who's option players buying down here for that kind of move, yeah, you could take the rest of the year off. If you would went in there with $10,000-$20,000, yeah, very easily. So, but I'm not saying that's going to happen. But I believe in my resistance areas on the main indices. So just keep that in mind. And then Kathy in the room, she had mentioned Alibaba because we had that bull flag formation, and she was taking long positions in Alibaba. And I kind of like that myself. I think Alibaba doesn't have any the 234.13, which that'd be new all-time highs. I think this could very easily get that 234.13 before the markets actually start to roll over. I'll see how the tomorrow opens. If we start running into resistance right out of the gate, I might go ahead and close this one out as well. But I'm just going to really lighten up on my long side here for the next few days, and just try to scalp some put shorts here at the first of the week. I'm really not even going to touch the call side at all once we run into that resistance area. Okay, that's just my ideas. Like I said, like the video if you like it, and if you can, leave some comments below if you see some stuff that I don't see, and you can validate a continuation to different levels to the upside. I do want to hear about them. Everybody's got their own way of looking at the markets, and we all know that this market is just completely unhinged to the upside, and that's going to go until the algos decide to start selling. And the S&Ps are really loaded with the big short trade right now, and if things start to break, I really think they're going to break in a big way. So I know some people are calling for the markets to go sideways, but whenever you get all loaded on one side of the equation in the markets, and things that should be working aren't working, all of a sudden things can unravel really quick when the liquidity starts drying up. And that's just pretty much all I'm saying. But I'm really looking strong to the put side this week. Thanks a lot.